Hey, what is up guys? This is Cobb and welcome to what might just be the easiest way in a standard layout, at least, to just win games in Mechabellum when it's standard versus standard and there's no aggro shenanigans going on. For example, if your opponent opens up with a couple of Stormcallers in their starting units, it's quite rare that you're going to see some frontline carry style, aggressive rush Stormcallers. It can happen, but if you can kind of predict that your opponent is going to go quite standard with their build, then dude, this very, very simple strategy. It's a strategy as old as, well, Mechabellum itself, really. The Vulcan Marksman combo. You just kind of can't go wrong. So what we're doing here on round one is we are starting off as Marksman Specialist. And so I was planning to do this build basically as soon as I saw the Stormcallers come out. We're using the Tarantulas right now as our starting unit for chaff clear. And they're just there to clear the way for the Marksman. But what we're looking to do in here is very, very simply on round 4 or round 5, when we can, we're going to spend a lot of time just kind of building out our chaff in these early rounds, making sure that we have a few marksmen online. Do whatever the hell we have to do to build like a nice balanced army as we work our way towards like round 4, round 5-ish. And then we're going to start to sell our weaker chaff clear units, the Tarantulas. And we're just going to start to go into Vulcans instead. That's it. It's like planned obsolescence, right? I actually saw Grubby doing a video on this quite recently, and he's absolutely spot on about that, having an early game unit that can do a job for your army for the time being, but you're always planning on selling it and replacing it with a giant unit that does the same job but better. That kind of deal is what you're keeping in mind as you play, right? So we get to pick up extended marksman range here, which I was very, very happy about. As already mentioned, we're just going to fill out our chaff lines that little bit more. Oh, I actually decided to go ahead and flank with these crawlers right here, because I was expecting more chaff to come down from him, actually. Now I remember, I actually shot this game a few days ago. I was expecting more chaff to come out from him, because he's thinking, ooh, he's going into Marksman, he's only got a couple of Tarantulas, maybe he's going to just try and overwhelm me. And so I'm thinking, if I can pull some of his crawlers and stuff away, that would be great. It actually works out even better than I was expecting, because he goes even more Marksman, right? So I'm assuming he also went to extended range Marksman, which he did. But this is great for us, man. We pull a bunch of his crawlers away, and we distract his 2 new Marksman drops on that far side as well. And like I say, I'm just building chaff and just trying to sort of buy time for my boys until I can make that big transition into the Vulcan. Very, very, very efficient chaff clear, and I'm always going to be ranking up the Marksman as we go. Now, do you have to make this build with Marksman and do this strategy with Marksman? Not necessarily. You can also make it work with, if you start off with like a more aggressive sort of build, right? Like crawlers and arclights or something, you can go into like round 2 phoenixes or something and use phoenixes instead for the Marksman unit and go for like a slightly more aggressive positioning, or maybe like just an asymmetrical positioning is one way you can do it. I go into the Wasps right here just because he doesn't have any easy way to deal with air units right now, and I'm just going to try and get a cheeky base snipe right here. Once again, I'm just kind of throwing things, just throwing wrenches in the works as much as I can to try and just cause him problems and buy myself some time here until we have higher money rounds. And in the meantime, I'm just, continuing to pick up additional marksman units and build out the chaff lines as well. I think these crawlers go somewhere on the back line. Do I put them here? Surely not. Yeah, I put them on the back line. Okay, lovely. It's funny, man, when you watch yourself play a game that you played a few days ago, it's actually hard to remember your own plays and what you actually did. So my opponent also went for the Farseer drops all up and over here. He, of course, gets the free Farseer this round and buys a couple more as well. And I think that's a fine play from him, to be honest. He's just looking to build out with a nice versatile unit in his early rounds. It makes sense for him. But I'm also pretty pleased to see it too, in this case, planning on what I'm planning to do with the Marksman. So the Wasps are going to die quite quickly, but they will at least get the building dead, which is all that matters. I really have no business winning this round, to be honest, so this cheesy little Wasperish here that we're just going to make use of for basically 1 round. Like I say, it's just going to buy us a little bit of time. I feel like if we didn't get the building kill here, we lose this round very, very convincingly indeed. In fact, there's just a lot of crawlers still left alive over here, so do we end up still losing this round? Yeah. Yeah, we definitely do. But we're able to kind of like, what would you call it? Like soften the blow a little bit as a result of that Wasp play. So now we're getting towards the slightly more serious rounds where I can start to think about, okay, making that big transition that we were talking about. I'm feeling pretty comfortable here. with what I'm planning on getting done, and I don't feel super intimidated by him going like Rhino Assault or something, so we go into the supply specialist action. We're going to sell off the wasps on the left side, get ourselves a whole bunch of cash. And this is not the round in which we're going to pull the trigger on the Vulcan, I don't think, just because it's a little bit early days. What do I do this round? I'd be fine if I was just to build out... Okay, actually going to more Stormcallers. I would have been fine with just building up more chaff here. Me, you know, to past me. But remembering now what I'm actually doing here with the Stormcallers, I think I end up buying a couple of packs and just putting them like here and here, if I remember right. And the reason I'm doing that is to, well, sort of match his Stormcallers a little bit, make sure that his Marksmen don't get out of hand. But I'm also hoping to bait... Oh god, was I hoping to bait missile defense out of his Farseers? Oh god, that's a bad misplay by me then. He doesn't even have it teched in. He doesn't even have it teched in, dude. Okay, so I went for the Stormcallers here for a bad reason, it seems. Yeah. Oh god damn it, dude. How the hell did I not see that, man? How the hell did I not see that? That's really bad of me, dude. Well, that was the thought behind the Stormcallers anyway. I was hoping to bait him into thinking that I'm going to go some Stormies to try and counter his guys, and counter his Marksmen and stuff at the back. Yeah. How the hell did I not spot that he didn't have missile check on his Farseers, dude? Oh my god. That's just stupid. I mean, the Stormcallers are still fine to have anyway. They assist with chaff clear a little bit. They're also going to shear us up, I guess, against like bigger, bulkier ground units. They're still like a fine unit to have. They also protect against him going like a first wave of fangs as well. So they're fine to have. But yeah, we kind of get a little bit canned this round. Oh god. Okay. Alright. Yeah, probably not the best, man. Probably not the best. We would have been better off, I think, to placing like some backline wasp chaff instead. Would probably have been just a little bit better, but... Okay. Advanced targeting system is expensive as hell, so I'm dissuaded from going that. We also have extended range Marksman anyway, so I feel like we just don't really need it. Incendiary Bomb is going to come out instead. And I believe that this right now, round 5, is where we're going to sell our first Tarantula. And again, this is sort of like planned from the beginning. Selling these guys off basically as early as we can. I'm also going to protect, of course, against the Incendiary Bomb or potential for Incendiary Bomb coming out. I'm just going to replace the Tarantulas with Vulcans now on both sides. And that's basically it. This is just like the backbone of the comp. It's like a 3 or 4 unit build. There's not really a whole lot to it. It's very, very simple, but it's just so goddamn effective, man. I'm also going to slam some crawlers right here as well, just to wiggle around a bit and just distract some shots from these Stormies. I think it's also fine. Not sure why I'm placing a missile here, but we go ahead and do that. Can't remember why the hell I did that, man, but okay. Sweet. So for whatever reason, our opponent doesn't defend against the Incendiary, which is great. I positioned it in a way that it would probably kill the middle units anyway. So yeah, it's just a bonus that we got the Stormcallers dead too, so... Grand. Cool. Now, the Vulcans are pushing a little bit far forwards here. Of course, ideally, I'll be picking range up on these guys as soon as I can. But just kind of the rule is, as long as the Vulcans are alive, the Marksmen are going to kill everything. That's really it. That's why this is just like such a simple, classic little comp. And by the way, man, like I slumped down to something like 1400 MMR near the beginning of the season. Too many memes, you know. I'm back up to like 1660 now, or 1670 or something. Like, I'm doing great again. I'm back to where I'm comfortable, you know, to be making videos again on this. I like to be making videos when at least my account is somewhere where I'm happy with, even if I'm not pushing like the top of the leaderboards and stuff, which I'm fine with, man. The game's just not about that for me, you know. But it feels good to be back all up and over there, man. So, I thought about selling the Rhino here. I decided instead to go for a rush, just because I feel like him going the melting point is the only thing that can stop the Rhino kind of wiggling in on this side, because a lot of his crawlers here are going to run over here, or run to here, to my crawlers, and so he's got like a little bit of a weak spot in his defense here. Sadly, though, he does go the melting point after all. And it ends up just being the case that it doesn't really matter which side he places the melting point on, or which side I place the Rhino on, because he ends up buying another melting point on this side as well. I believe on the very same round, so... yeah, there it is. So, we went for the little cheeky play, man. It's fine, we can sell this guy off after the fact. It's all good. We sell off the other Tarantula over here. Then we go range on the Vulcans, and I think I also go range on the Marksman just now as well. And yeah, it's just Operation Keep the Marksman and the Vulcans alive. The chaff are just there to buy us time. And this is just like the 3-unit build. This is what we got going on, man. And this is so consistent, dude. It's so consistent. I think I've lost like one game doing this strat in the past like 20, you know? Not that I've been playing this strat every single game and I went on like a 19-game win streak. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the games in which I could do this strat based on my opponent's opener, you just kind of win. You know, you just kind of win. So maybe it's like 4 or 5 wins for 1 loss for where I'm at on my account right now. And it's just great. So if you just need to win games, this is just the build to do it, man. If your opponent is playing like a slow-moving standard build, this, of course, doesn't work so good against aggro. Just because the Marksmen don't get things dead quite quickly enough. But when it's guaranteed to become a bit of a poke battle at the end, if you just get ahead on the Marksmen and have good extended range Vulcans, you're just kind of good. I think I actually go super, super greedy here and go for the second super supply enhancement because I just feel so comfortably ahead. Even though our health totals, like, I'm actually a little bit behind. I'm just getting the sense in this game that we're good. Like, we are good, man. I'd like to see if I play around the possibility of wasp drops here, because I think that a good play he could do against this is like wasps here and wasps here. Just as chaff, you know, just to really slow my Marksman down, because the fangs will be long dead before the wasps ever get there. And yeah, the wasps would be a real problem. So what I'm hoping I do here is like fangs and fangs. I think I eventually drop some backline fangs, some like 3rd or 4th wave chaff fang units, and they're just going to help to... Oh, I actually do it this round. Oh my god, lovely, dude. I was on my game here, man. I was on my game. Just goes to show when I'm not recording games live, I actually have more time to think about what I'm doing. It's so tough, man, to actually like cast your own gameplay as you go. I have so much respect, you know, to the high MMR streamers who can do that, who can actually talk through the game and engage with the audience and entertain and cast their own game while also making just really good plays. Like, I can't do that, man. I struggle to make even reasonably sensible plays when I'm casting one of my own games. I'm just too tempted by the memes, you know. But yeah, we just drop a second Vulcan over here. I'm not really too intimidated by his chaff in the middle. He just doesn't have a lot of it. And the Marksman also went into Elite Marksman now as well. Just because, yeah, I scouted out his melting points. He does not have crawler production on these either. So you know what? As long as my Marksmen are doing enough damage with Elite Marksman, they should be able to take care of these guys pretty goddamn easily. If he did have crawler production on the melting points, then instead I probably go into Electromag instead of Elite Marksman. Just as like a heads up, as like an FYI, you know. But yeah, we're doing grand, man, and the damage is just able to take care of his giant units. Just the power of any kind of Marksman unit. Of course, you could even make this build work as long as you take care of like your anti-air needs and stuff. You could make a build like this work with the likes of things like Siege Scorpions and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be strictly a Marksman style or sniper style unit that's sort of taking care of business in this sort of build. But I guess my main hope with this video is just to show that, man, I think there's a real point to be made about not getting too carried away with countering your opponent necessarily, and just building a good army. You know, a good army that does just does a good job and has good synergy and is well balanced, has like a well-defined carry unit, doesn't get too hard countered by anything in particular, and just has some good unit pairings. Chaff, I mean the 3 pillars of Mechabellum, right? Chaff clear, carry unit. That's it. Something that can kill the big guys, something that can kill the little guys, and then lots of little guys well positioned to protect your chaff clear on your giant killers. And that's really it, man. And that's what this build does just deliciously, right? So our opponent here actually goes into the Typhoons, which I don't think was the best play, given that Marksmen are going to be able to deal with these level 1 Typhoons very succinctly. As you can well see over here, cracking their shields and taking them out very fast indeed. Yeah, I think that, again, what would have given me a little bit more trouble here was if he went into Wasps just a couple of rounds sooner. It would have actually given my Marksman some real trouble. And give my Fangs here at the front. Like, the Fangs would have shot down some of the Wasps, but they wouldn't have been able to take care of all of them. You know, it would have been a little bit of a problem. And I'd probably have to go into things like Fang range and that kind of thing in order to sort of adapt to that. So you can't just build an army that's going to win every time. Of course, there's some adaptation that's got to happen, but yeah. I just think this army loadout is easily one of the best for getting the job done. So, onwards onto the last round. We've got one more game to cover after this one as well. Where do I go here? Do I go and improve firepower control? I think that's what I'd like to see myself go, and just slam this on like the level 2 Vulcan. Will probably be smartest. I'm also a little bit cognizant of my opponent going improve movement speed. Just because it's one of the things that counters a build like this is just a very, very fast army, especially in an aggressive position like an asymmetrical rush. You can't really do this quite as effectively, just because you're going to lose the tower so quickly. And especially if your opponent has like plus move speed. They're just going to get on top of your Marksman way faster, right? Okay. I can't remember what the hell I do on this final round now, to be completely honest with you. So, yeah. Let's actually just find out, shall we? Looks like I went for Sabertooth, sold that a while back. Okay, we just build out more Marksmen, which looking back I kind of support at this point. We have plenty of chaff clear here. Push both the attack enhancement and defense enhancement buttons. Yeah, thinking back, I just feel like I have a really good sort of handle on this game now. To protect myself a little bit more, maybe range on the fangs would have been a little bit more sensible here. I feel like the only way I can lose this is some crazy, you know, he makes like an oil play or something. Drops like an oil and I like set my army on fire or something. I'm feeling pretty goddamn comfortable, you know. So, okay. And there it is, man. We absolutely torch everything. Marksman, very nicely leveled at this point. We've got some level 3s, some level 4s. This guy randomly is level 8. What the hell is going on, man? 40,000 damage per shot on this guy. Oh my god, I didn't realize how much I actually leveled some of these guys. Absolutely smacking. 265 meter range. I want to see him one-tap this guy. Oh my god, dude, it's brutal. Okay, lovely. And yeah, there it is. As you can see, man, once we got like this build established, we just didn't lose a round since then. It's just grand. I don't know, man. And alright, man, straight on into the second match. I'm starting this one on like a round 3. It's a much shorter game, but you can just see the same strategy sort of playing out again. We're on the reinforcement selection round just now, and then I'll kind of walk you through how we've sort of like built out our army so far. I decide that because I'm going Marksman, I'm actually not that nervous about anything that he can select here in this situation. He ends up going into the Phoenixes. I do too. Do I end up selling these guys, or do I use them for one round again just to try and buy some time? I can't quite remember how I use these Phoenixes, but as you can see, we're up against a bit of an asymmetrical push here. The fact that he has Stormcallers and a few Marksmen though tells me that he's not going for like a crazy building rush. First thing I did was check to see if these Marksmen had Assault Mode Marksmen. If they did, I'd be quite concerned, and I probably wouldn't go something like a standard layout like this. And oh yeah, what I decide to do with the Phoenixes is try to make a nutty little push using the mobile beacon here, positioning them in such a way that I'm hoping that they can just dodge the Stangs that are currently on either side. I thought I could maybe get the push in around here and not aggro these Phoenixes. Didn't quite go down like that, but as you can see, man, this build actually looks very similar to what we were running in the last game. In fact, I even pick up an additional Tarantula here just because I feel like I need a bit more chaff clear to deal with this early rush. And so even though I'm planning on selling the Tarantulas later on, I'm still not opposed to just to picking up a few more of them, or one or two more of them as needed in the early game. Just to deal with the pressure in these early rounds, right? And just make sure that I'm not losing too brutally. Sadly, our Phoenix is played, it just doesn't do anything. His Phoenixes are positioned just right to snipe our guys out of the sky. And so we're not going to get such an easy time of sort of cheesing our way through early rounds as we did in the last game. But that's all good, man. We're going to lose our other tower over here as well. And that's basically going to be the death of us as the Stangs come over to clear the remainder of our chaff. And down we go, man. So we're actually taking our first loss in this game as opposed to the last one. But I think it's fine to jump into this one like sort of halfway through. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. So I see the improved firepower control system here. I know exactly what I want to do. I go ahead, I sell the Phoenixes right away because they were quite expensive. We go straight into a Vulcan and give it the firepower control system. This basically tells me that, okay, man, I'm pretty much safe on this side now. The only thing I've got to worry about really is the Stormies and the Phoenixes over here. So we go ahead, we pick up some crawlers right here as well. I'm just going to wiggle back and forth a little bit just to distract these guys, buy us a little bit of time. But in this game, because he's so aggressively positioned, I'm going to be investing a bit less into the Marksman and more into a carry-style Vulcan, just to snuff out his more aggressive army and all of this chaff way faster, right? So there's a little bit of adaptation with the build in this way as well, you know? You can kind of balance whether you're like pumping a ton of upgrades into the Vulcan or a ton of upgrades into the Marksman, depending on how much chaff your opponent has and how aggressively positioned they are, you know? Generally, the more aggro they are, and the more chaff they've got, and the Stangs are also factoring into my decision here too, the Vulcan is going to be the focus of our upgrades in this game. And as you can see, it's doing a much better job of the Tarantulas and just clearing off all of the crawlers here on that front line. Because it's also got the improved firepower control, it's doing pretty goddamn good damage as well. Just toasting the Marksman and the level 2 Stangs as well. At least I think they were level 2. Well, they were before they were reduced to bubbling pools of slag. Which is my favorite expression to say in this video game. And there we go, man. The Vulcan actually gets a level right away, which is great. It means I can afford now to pump a level into it and get range on the sucker straight away. As for what I go right here, I think I go into the Farseers, just because I'm a little bit concerned about if I'm going to go heavier into the Vulcan, then suddenly I'm more vulnerable to Stormcallers getting pumped out, right? I'm not too worried about him going anything else here. He chooses to go into the Overlords, which is fine. But yeah, I go into the Farseers here specifically for the Missile Interceptor, and I'm ready to have more Farseers sort of on my backline. Just in case more of these Neds come out. And you know what? Even though he went into the Overlord here as well, the Farseers are a pretty good answer into the Overlord too, right? They can also shoot down Overlord projectiles. So I'm pretty happy to just go some missile defense overall to protect what is becoming a big boy Vulcan very quickly indeed. Now, our opponent this time actually does go into the Wasps, which is a pretty good play for him, to be honest. I think he'd be better off placing these Wasps further back and having them arrive late as a late arrival chaff, because right now they're kind of just going to run into Fangs, which deal with Wasps like pretty evenly, you know, it's a pretty even trade. Yeah, whereas if the Wasps arrive late, I might just have a lot less chaff and maybe even one or two less Farseers to deal with the Wasps, and it might be a big problem for me. So I think he mispositioned those just a little bit in his excitement to rush me down here and protect his Overlord. I wonder if he goes more late arrival Wasps, actually, as the round goes on. I actually can't quite remember, man, but either way, man, the Vulcan is just absolutely toasting everything. The Marksman and the Farseers are nice and safe behind the Vulcan as well. And so, yeah, kind of similar story going down where we just win the poke battle by the end of the game, you know? The Vulcan is just having the absolute time of its life, dude. The Vulcan is having a great old time, man. And okay, tight. Very nice. So another thing that you want to do, of course, when your opponent goes into... Oh my god, I see the laser sights here. I know exactly what I want to do as soon as I see it. Of course, we're going to be going into more than one Vulcan because we've already invested in tech. And so that's my plan here. There he goes. And I just want to cover any kind of chaff coming out on this side, and just in case anything else starts to rush us from over here as well, put it around the middle-ish, where it feels quite safe. But yeah, I did also scout out the fact that my opponent could go Mothership Overlords, and because I've already seen the Wasps, I'm thinking to myself, okay, pretty likely at this point that he's just going to go more Wasps. Maybe go into Energy Shield on his Wasps, and then go Mothership Overlords. So I was kind of ready for this. I also go into Farseer Missile Defense here, which I think is fine. It's very cheap to go into. But what I'm also going to do is drop an additional Farseer. I think I put it around here. And that's just to kind of protect me a little bit against Wasps, right? A little bit of building health as well on this left side, because I feel like the only way I really lose this next round now is if he does something like crazy shenanigans and cracks this building in some way that I'm not anticipating. So a bit of building health over there. Additional Farseer. Vulcan is absolutely toasting everything. We're going to win the chaff battle very handily indeed. And now all of these additional Wasps that are going to be arriving late, we have one extra Farseer now to deal with them. And of course, enhanced range is going to help us with that as well, man. And so, yeah, it was just more of an operation, Operation Protect the Vulcan in this game. And the Marksmen are more just... I only had 2 Marksmen in this game, by the way, and I put just anti-air into them, just so we had something to quickly kill off the big Overlords. And so the Marksmen were just less of a feature this game, but the threat of the Marksman was there, and of course I was leveling them every round that I could. Just to make sure that I could push that button and turn them into big boys whenever the need might arise. You know what I'm saying? Alright, man. there you go. I don't know, dude. Is this just like the easiest way to win games in Mechabellum? If your opponent is playing standard or even just a little bit less than impressive, like asymmetrical aggro-ish rush, you can still go into a build like this. Notice how well I sold off basically all of the tarantulas but the one on the left over here, which I probably would have got around to selling eventually. And it was just the same thing as last game, you know, just very, very slight differences in like build order and a little bit of an adaptation to what my opponent was doing, but the same fundamental recipe in both games. Simple, simple stuff. Yeah, that's it really. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you did enjoy this one. And I'm gonna catch all of y'all just a 10 bit later, man.